March Madness is back for more in 2024. And you, along with millions, are excited to watch it again, of course. There's nothing quite like the March Madness NCAA Tournament. But maybe this year you don't know quite as much as maybe you used to in the past because, I mean, you got a life, right? Maybe you don't know who some of the best basketball players are and you want to watch some of these guys. Don't worry, I got you covered. Let's go through players not named Zach Edey who should absolutely ball out in the tournament this year. Alright, number one, we got Terrence Shannon Jr. He's a senior from Illinois, and he's listed here at 6'6". Shannon Jr. has played a lot of college basketball over the years. He started his college ball at Texas Tech, but he was born right in Chicago, so it's fitting that he is now with Illinois. He's a score-at-will kind of guy who can really score at all levels. You can just watch the highlights on what he did in the Big Ten tournament and you can tell that. During Selection Sunday, a couple of the analysts were throwing out the old LeBron James comparisons when they were talking about him, and I'll say that I don't see that at all. But I do see a guy who could play in the NBA, regardless of that stuff. He's certainly got enough in him to be the most outstanding player of the tournament if he and his team can get far enough to be considered. As of everybody who made the tournament, only Zach Edey himself gets more points per game than Terrence. Maybe you aren't completely sold with Purdue or Zach Edey. Well, you can quickly fall in love with RJ Davis in North Carolina, that's for sure. UNC made it to the ACC tourney finals where they did lose, but it wasn't because of Davis in that game. He dropped 30 on NC State. RJ can score with his floater, he can make pull-up shots, and he is over 40% from 3 this year, which is a big jump from last year by about 4%. Another notable game is when he dropped 40 points with 40 steals on Miami this year. So he's known to be able to completely take games over. You also can't foul him at all, which is obviously a tricky thing to do, because he's a stellar 87.3% from the free throw line to go with all these things. If North Carolina goes far, a lot of it will be because of RJ Davis. Do you like a high-powered offense? Of course you do. Alabama has just the thing for you. Meet Mark Sears, a 6'1" senior, who started his college career at Ohio University. Not only does he get over 21 points per game, but he's very efficient at doing so. With him also being the point guard, they of course look to him to run the offense as well. He's an Alabama native, so you know he will want to put on a show for his team, his state, family, all of the above. He hasn't scored less than 20 points in a game in about a month on February 21st. But to be fair to him, they won that game, so that's really all that matters. Not to mention his season-high 8 assists. They're one of the most fun teams to watch in all of college, if you ask me. And he's one of the most exciting point guards in the NCAA, no doubt about it. Alright, well let's say you don't really vibe with the 1 seeds at all. Maybe you like number 2s better. Well, there's none better than DALTON KNECHT with Tennessee. KNECHT was getting over 20 points per game last year, but he was the offense at Northern Colorado. He transfers and proves that he can still ball out in the SEC or wherever you put him, as he dropped 40 points on Kentucky in the SEC tourney, giving him 7 games of 30 points or more this season. You can't help but root for a player and a shooter like that, especially in the tourney. He and his squad, I'm sure, are excited to go out there and show the world just what they are capable of in this tournament. And it's true, this is a dangerous team that absolutely could go on a run. An absolute workhorse on the glass and in the paint is JAEDON LEDEE. He first started at Ohio State, then transferred to TCU, and now is at San Diego State. OSU and TCU are both salty, believe that. And he doesn't shoot threes that much, but he is 41% from beyond the arc, while being over 55% from the field. In the Mountain West tournament, he had no less than 22 points, where he also had a season-high 16 rebounds in the tournament against UNLV. When you see the athleticism and the sheer amount of effort that this kid gives, you can't help but root for him as well. I'm glad he's finally found a home at San Diego State. Alright, let's take a look at some Cinderella stars. The gap between the high and the low seeds has eroded closer and closer together. These bottom tier seeds have some phenomenal players. Tucker Devries from Drake is a perfect example of this. He's a 6'7" junior, and he was getting just under 19 points per game last year, as he has upped his game every year, just like the previous players on this list every season. He can shoot, he can rebound, he can pass, and he even gets 1.6 steals per game. In the MVC championship game, he lit up Indiana State for 27 points and was 4 or 5 from threes. He's played in 33 games this season, and 14 of them he had 25 or more points. And if his team does go far, he's bound to do it again. But even if his team doesn't, enjoy him while he plays this weekend. Another player I want you to enjoy this weekend is Daron Holmes II, junior forward from University of Dayton. Holmes is definitely one of the better overall players in the game of NCAA basketball, doing it on both ends as he gets over 2 blocks per game, while on offense being able to get over 20 points per game on just 1.9 fouls per game as well. Nevada is 287th ranked in total rebounding, so you can expect that Holmes balls out this weekend, and I just hope for everyone's sake that this isn't the only time we see him. You know, that is unless, of course, you're a Nevada fan. There you have it. There's my watch list of players that you need to see this weekend. And hopefully beyond this weekend too. But at least some of them will move on. What'd you think? Who are you most excited to see this weekend? You know, other than Zach Edey, it doesn't count, okay? Subscribe and stay tuned for America Sports, as we're going to predict this weekend in just a couple of days. And since this is America Sports, we're going to get back into the NBA and the NFL very soon as well, as April is a pretty big month for the NFL draft and the NBA playoffs, and we're going to cover all of it. So subscribe and like, comment, maybe share this with a buddy. That would be awesome. And I'll see you guys. You'll catch me in the next one.